Hello everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Destiny video. Today Fantasy Flight released some huge news on Star Wars Destiny. They released an article about set rotation. So set rotation has been a common question among fans and players of Destiny since the game was released initially last year. So they've always said they're going to have plans for rotation, but they weren't ready to announce them. And today they've announced plans for set rotation. So there will be three formats, and I'm going to be going into deeper detail into each of these formats a little bit later in the video. But we are going to have a standard format, a trilogy format, and an infinite format. So let's go into what each of these formats are. So standard, I'm going to read a little bit of this just from their article. I'll have a link in the description where you can check it out yourself as well. So it says, the main format for Destiny organized play, and the one that will be used at all the game's championship level events, the standard format will be the most closely watched and carefully governed of the three. Okay, standard format consists of the two most recent cycles and all products that are part of an unreleased cycle. And it says a cycle consists of a pair of starter sets, the accompanying set of booster packs that go with those starters, two expansions of booster packs, and all other products associated with this cycle. So, for example, let me bring up this image here. This is the Awakening cycle currently. So we have the Kylo and Rey starter sets, the Awakenings booster packs, the Spirit of Rebellion booster packs, and the Empire at War booster packs. Even though the two-player starter set was released before Empire at War, it is actually not part of the Awakening cycle. It is actually part of the Legacy cycle, so it'll be in Standard a little bit longer. So Standard will essentially consist of two blocks like this. So you will have this block plus the Legacies block will be Standard. Once the third cycle starts coming out, Awakenings will phase out. We're going to move into an image showing what that rotation will look like. So we'll be right back with that. And we are back with an image from the article about the rotation. So as you see on the left, we have our standard rotation with the Awakening cycle as well as the Legacy cycle. So the Legacy cycle will consist of the Luke Skywalker and Boba Fett starter sets, the Legacy's booster packs, Star Wars Destiny two-player game, and the Rivals draft pack as well. So currently rotation or standard is Awakening cycle and Legacy cycle. Once on the right, once the third cycle starts coming out, that'll be standard legal. Legacies will be standard legal, and Awakenings will have rotated out. It will not be legal in standard anymore. So that looks like how the rotation will work. It's kind of like how Magic does their rotation now, where the third set, so in the case of Awakenings, Empire at War will have a shorter amount of time in standard than Awakenings, and whatever other sets come out for the Legacy cycle, the later ones will obviously have a shorter time in standard as well. So Magic went back to doing this where the third set in a block will generally, or the third block that year will rotate out faster. So Shadows over Innistrad rotated out along with Battle for Zendikar, even though Battle for Zendikar came out in 2015 at the end of that year, and Shadows over Innistrad and Eldritch Moon came out in the spring and summer of 2016. So there will be some sets and some cards that will be less played because there will be just a shorter amount of time to use those in standard. We're going to move into our discussion on the trilogy format. We'll be right back with that. And the second new format revealed today was the trilogy format. Going back to the article, the most fluid of the new Destiny play formats, the trilogy format uses an aggressive rotation policy to remain as welcoming as possible to newer players in casual leagues. The trilogy format consists solely of the most recent cycle and all products that are part of an unreleased cycle. So over here we have what the Legacies cycle will look like currently. So we have the two-player starter game, the Legacies booster packs, the Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker starter sets, and the Rivals draft pack. This also includes, I believe, anything that releases after Legacies, so that's part of this block essentially, or this cycle is what they're calling them. So the two other expansion sets that come out will be part of this cycle as well. I can see why they're doing this one. It definitely makes it easier for newer players to get into the game maybe in a competitive format if you're playing in a trilogy tournament where your card pool is essentially just one cycle's worth and not two cycles worth with standard. So instead of trying to figure out like what cards best synergize with a certain character from Legacies or future sets. You're just picking from a card pool that is much smaller than the standard card pool and so on. So this is the trilogy format, so essentially just one cycle, and then once that cycle is done, it'll rotate out. And we're going to move into our final format in just a moment. We'll be right back with that. And the final format revealed today was the Infinite format, and it's pretty simple. Everything that's been released is legal in Infinite. So essentially, it's like I don't know if it's Legacy or Vintage, but there's Magic rotations or play styles that just have you have access to the entire card pool with a very limited, like a restricted and ban list and so on. But Star Wars Destiny Infinite, anything that's been released for Star Wars Destiny, whether it be starter packs, two-player starter games, draft packs, booster sets will be legal in Infinite. Pretty simple. It's just basically everything in the game will be legal. I'm looking forward to playing in some of these tournaments just to see, in all three actually, just to kind of see how deck building changes when you're building for standard as opposed to building for trilogy, and as well as you're building for infinite. So pretty good article, pretty cool concept here. They finally announced their rotation plans. I'll leave a link in the description below where you can read the article for yourself. I'm pretty excited about how this may change the game, like I said, especially with deck building. But that's going to do it for today's video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.